transitioning from rapid to blitz is its own
has been saying.
challenge. And they're off, and we see the repetition from the opening. But this time,
with G3.
G3, my bishop is not going to get buried back on H1.
So it didn't take long for us to find ourselves.
I'm sure we're going to see knight E7. Oh, no, he played D5 right away. Oh, this time F4. That I did not see coming. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I want to tell you right now. I'm thinking...
Do you feel obligated to snap this pawn off, though, before allowing it up to E5?
With pleasure. Exactly, James. I don't want to see you clamping down on me. I trade. I get a tempo against that bishop.
Agreed.
And then I get another tempo with bishop C6. So I'm thinking Gary's got an opportunity to jump on the position.
Maybe it's only one tempo if bishop F3 has, and then
bishop C6.
And bishop C6, knight C3, and just play chess.
Queen E7, castles.
And play chess, definitely. It does look as though black should have easy flow play. And easy flow play means what? Play quickly.
Play quickly, because you can see it just above us right here. Games are now at 5-3. Of course, you can already see on the clocks themselves, Gary is quickly approaching that 4-minute mark. And so
he has, it took a long time for him to,
Ching
how did
what an interesting choice
How
here.
did he not, I mean...
I'm seeing you recoiling at this.
Yeah, well the developing with tempo is the most common thing in chess. Grandmasters, all players love developing with a gain of tempo. We can attack your queen. We can force it to move. We can attack your knight, force it to move. Gary,
maybe he wanted to make sure D4 did not happen. Maybe he prioritized that over, because now he's played your move bishop C6.
Yes.
Although he didn't play, he could have played knight F6. But then maybe he's just prioritizing, you don't play D4. I want to control that square. Just trying to find the rationale behind why he wouldn't do a natural move like you said, which we all would want to play, knight F6.
Right.
Prioritizing, like, and there bishop F3. You're not playing D4, and I will continue to develop my pieces. But it is true. It's very hard to imagine why he wouldn't have played this other move. But there it is. The position's gone, and he is, after all, Garry Kasparov, so we'll give him that respect. And he's bringing his knight, again, to control that D4 square, prioritizing that and saying to Vichy, what you got? How are you going to make this work? Bishop F2 with the potential to play D4. But knight F5, I'm a little scared.
To begin with, knight F5, I do like. I also like, funnily enough, the move bishop to D4. I need to move my queen so that I can castle short. So somehow trading that bishop with bishop to D4, putting, in case you trade it, and putting my queen back on G7 and castle short, I like the position. Knight F5, I like this. I'm a French defense player.
Yeah, you got to like this.
French defense players love to have knights on these beautiful protected squares. Maybe I'd like to throw in H5 in usually too.
I got to say, this is looking like regular chess.
It is.
Really quick. The fact that we start off 6:35, again, like I said, we could keep this one at 6:35 because very quickly
it's becoming a star position.
Like, just look like a normal, it's 7 moves in. And yeah, we could definitely get used to a position like this. By the way, I want to make a big point. Notice how neither side is trading light square bishops. Because if you trade the bishop, my knight jumps out.
On my turn.
So neither one is like, no, I'm not trying to get your knight in the game. You trade. No, you trade. So they're going to try to work around this trade to keep the knights back without tempo coming into the game.
Exactly.
So that's just a dynamic as we watch here. Queen E2 played, and Gary now, as you mentioned, how to get the queen away so that you can castle.
For me, with both hands, I'm planning the knight on D4 and saying, this is, I will die on this hill.
Okay. And Gary agrees.
He agrees.
You want to give me your bishop again?
I will take
this
that
guy
with the queen.
Is stubborn.
I will take that with the queen. I'll castle. And again, with the queen beautifully on a battery on that diagonal, the knight on C3 is a little stuck. Now, Vichy didn't seem to mind it in that second rapid game. He played, in fact, as if he had no problem. But we know, thanks to the engine, that Gary did miss a chance. Okay, we have more moves. I'm going to refresh
Queen takes
the board.
D4. Black is very comfortable.
Quick
Castles on the board.
And now I'm expecting castles for Gary. He
let's
did
keep
it.
our eye on the clock, by the way, 2:49 to 3:36. Vichy does have a nice little edge, and now comes that trade that he was avoiding.
It was unavoidable. Some point you run out of moves. He had reached a position where he said, I have to develop the knight for
He
you.
wasn't a fan of the move, though, I have to say.
No, but again, I mean, from
From a human
what I can
standpoint, that looks
see,
very natural.
I have to do it. I delayed it. But okay, queen drops back to b6. By the way, keeping a watchful eye over the d4 square. Yeah. I can easily imagine Gary playing for the moves. Rook to d8, knight comes back to d4. By the way, it's a kind of a funny situation where kings are on opposite flanks. I'm expecting h4, h5 yesterday.
That's funny.
And
I was looking at black doing the same thing, but on the opposite side.
On the other side,
yeah,
yesterday.
For the A pawn to start running.
Let's go.
95 played, rook d8, all pieces well coordinated.
Centralized.
And now queen to e4,
Engine sees something.
like this move at all.
Why are you provoking me to occupy a good square? Ooh, rook d4 looks... No, I mean, I can resist everything except temptation. Rook d4 is too tempting.
but listen, there is...
Whoa, F5.
This move is the beauty of this move.
What's the beauty?
This is a beautiful move. It guards the e4 square, and he's going to close down the weakness on the e6 square by taking on e5. And once he does that, your e-pawn is going to be problematic.
Right.
Right? He's going to be able to move his rook easily, rook d4, double rooks. Your e-pawn is not going anywhere, and he's taken on that square, and now takes. And this bishop is always going to eye this pawn, as long as you don't get the move d4 in.
Right.
Again, that's been the theme of the game, as far as black's concerned.
So now I'm just looking.
And now he's played rook
There
d4.
it is.
Yeah, he's preventing physically you from playing the move d4.
And moving your knight, because rook e4 will happen.
Ah, that's nasty. I am not happy. I think black came out of the opening with an advantage.
Smashingly.
Do we have to just go like rook f4 at this point?
He's
Offer the
done
trade?
it.
That's going to be...
That trade is not happening. Not rook takes on f4 anyway.
Rook d8.
And he's doubled rooks.
Okay.
And again, the same situation. What do you do next? Can you
White
play...
is stymied, actually.
Yes. This is the problem. And he has traded this rook, and he's thinking about
not good.
Should he take with the queen, which would now eyeball the pawn on e5.
Yes.
Gary in thought here, hesitating, and now he's done it. And after queen takes, you have to defend. White's the one defending.
Exactly. 2 minutes here for Gary. I'm thinking I just want to stop this knight from jumping. Something like a6 I'd find very attractive.
He's played c6 instead with the same concept. Yeah. That knight is under control. You might see the bishop on h8 and think, that's a bad piece. That bishop can always come in the game anytime it wants. And also, it is eyeing that e-pawn on e5. So it's saying to the white queen, you're not going anywhere. The rook as well. Your pieces are stuck. It's on me to start making progress, maybe even by advancing the queenside pawns.
And we had questions, right, about whether or not Gary Kasparov was going to be able to make that switch up in pace, just given the time differential that we saw coming out of rapid game number 2. And while, yes, he has a little bit less time to work with on the clock, he's found himself a slight advantage, as given to us by the computer here. Yeah. So openings and still plenty of time for him to maneuver to a possible first decisive game.
Well, we do now see this move, bishop g7, as he's teeing up for queen takes h6, queen takes e3 and bishop h6, so that he can place his bishop on this nice diagonal.
Trade made, queen's off the board, we're in an endgame.
Don't believe that.
the rook didn't quite make it to d4. It stopped on d5, and the engine didn't like it.
Sometimes there are glitches. You saw the engine just say double question mark for an completely forced move. Rook takes d4 was necessary. Then it said, oops, my bad, but we still see a little red on the eval there.
Would have been one of the worst real-world mouse slips.
Okay, now we are really in blitz mode, guys. This is an ending. It has nothing to do with, Fischer Random and stuff like that. These two guys are great endgame specialists. Who's going to outplay?
And they've shown once again that just give us a few moves and it'll look like a regular chess position. Yeah. And that's what has happened. And now Gary has played g5. He could have brought his king into the game. By the way, you could see the king start a march king f7, king g6, king h5, all the way to g4, and into the heart of white's position.
Yep.
So that is something that could happen. E3,
I'm not a
completely
fan.
looking unrelated.
I am not a fan.
What is that move about? Not sure. But 107 for Gary. They are totally about to go into panic time.
King f7.
Dropping down 1 minute left on Gary's clock.
Okay, knight
equal
e2.
material.
He's still aspiring.
Just slide right back up to.
He's still
equal.
aspiring for d3, d4.
If d4 happens,
yeah, then that bishop could get buried.
That's good news, and it has happened. That is good news for white. This is the one move that Vichy has been trying to play forever. Gary's been trying to prevent, and now it is on the board, and that e-pawn is defended. Great defense. Some slip by Gary has allowed Vichy back in the game.
Agreed. I think that Vichy, this is the best he could have hoped for. As we saw the position a few moves ago, I don't think Gary's move c7, c6 was perfect. I think a6 followed by c5 just to stop the setup. Now, I'm not saying white's out of the woods either. I mean, I'm still seeing a 3-result game.
Yes, there's 30 seconds left for Gary.
That's
though. 28.
the issue.
I mean, that's a minute edge. Gary's going to have to pick them up and put them down really quickly as Vichy is just playing normal, natural moves. And now g4 on the board. Space for black. The position is still within bounds, but the clock, just precarious moments coming in the next few moves. And now a4, Vichy's playing, and Gary's stopping to think. We need it to be in blitz mode.
Gary needs to play
Gary.
h4,
Kick it.
king g6, and go. I mean, there's no time.
There is no time, and Vichy now getting some
20
more
seconds.
Space on the other side as Gary
H4.
is indeed down to just 17 seconds on the
Gary's
clock.
going to lose. The time eval is too greatly against Gary now.
Now b4 on the
Come
board.
on, Gary.
Now
How come he
A6.
hasn't prepared his move already?
Completely ignoring everything on the right-hand side of the board
stopping
is
to
Vichy.
think.
Every move he stops to think. You just have to play king g6. Takes on g3, rook h7.
And now bishop back to d8, 13 seconds
Gary's
to 1 minute on the clock. You spot a former world champ. They both are, but a whole 50 seconds on the clock in a situation like this. And here comes the knight. The knight, remember that knight being, not the right piece versus the bishop? Now the knight becomes cagey and annoying to have to play against.
Well, this is where you're happy to have kept 6 pawns on the board apiece with the knight.
Guys, 5 seconds.
4 seconds left. Gary's got to move, and the knight has been dancing and pressing. Now it's off the board, and Gary fighting like a champ, trying to come back in this game.
I don't know. What is that?
This game is, look, eval bar says dead even. This is a war now. Gary, with very little time to explode anything in this position. He sacked the pawn.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. King e3. How do you follow it up? Okay, now he wants to play g3 and recapture with the rook. So, rook to g1.
Got to slide it back over, yeah.
Rook to g1, g3. I can play the move h3.
If anything, importantly, I'd say he's built some time back.
He's played rook g1.
But he doesn't have to do anything if you play rook g1. That's what I was going to say. What do I have to do? I don't have to do anything. He's challenging Vichy. Find a move right now. I may be down a pawn, but what's your pawn break? How do you make anything happen? I always have g3 as counterplay, and Vichy is looking around as his time now has actually dipped down to 24 seconds, 22, I'm seeing on the clock. He's less than
But
Gary.
he's given the pawn back. D5. Oh,
and
my
here
God.
we go as the pawn is on G3.
Threatening mate in 1.
Oh, it's a mate threat.
It's a mate threat. Rook f6 is check and mate,
He's
everybody.
got to play rook g6. This position is wild.
Okay, hold it. If we take, isn't it bridesmaids? H3 and D4?
And a capture on G6, and now
Black
it's time.
could be winning with H3.
He is winning.
That's what I was thinking.
Gary's got two passers. They're wide, and he just has to deal with one passer.
G7.
But Gary trying to figure out which one to play first.
H2.
And now D3. And that's it. He's
won the game.
Wow.
What a turnaround. Oh, my goodness. And Vichy can't believe it, because Vichy had control in that ending. He was pushing on the queen side. He played knight c3, dancing and prancing.
He did not have to play d5 and rook b6. He went for a mate, and Gary had a defense at rook g6. He probably missed that, and instead of getting a draw, he could have brought his book back to g1 and draw again. Instead, he blundered away, and Gary has won that game and $1,000 that were on it.